What follows is a narration of excerpts from Srila Prabhupada's books, letters, and conversations on the subject matter of book distribution. One half of this recording will be narrated by His Grace Amala Bhakta Prabhu, and the other half by your humble servant Chandrasekhar Acharya Das. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, to his books, and to his ISKCON. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 2, Verse 38, Purport. The word kriyasu, meaning by manual labor or by work, is important in this verse. One should engage in practical service to the Lord. In our Krishna consciousness movement, all our activities are concentrated upon distributing Krishna literature. This is very important. One may approach any person and induce him to read Krishna literature so that in the future he also may become a devotee. Such activities are recommended in this verse. Kriyasu yas tvach charanaravindayo. Such activities will always remind the devotees of the Lord's lotus feet. By fully concentrating on distributing books for Krishna, one is fully absorbed in Krishna. This is Samadhi. 1972, Letter to Kshirodakshayi. With full faith in Krishna and spiritual master, push on this work with full force. We have got a great mission to fulfill, and these books and magazines are the torch-bearers of truth which can save the world. 1972, Letter to Krishna Bhamini. If we introduce these books in all the bookstores, schools, colleges, libraries, and everyone's home, our religion will be the only religion in the world very soon. This prediction has been made publicly here in one newspaper by a Japanese philosopher that within 10 years, Krishna consciousness will be the world religion. If you all keep preaching in such a pure way, this will undoubtedly prove true. 1972, Letter to Mandali Bhadra. My first concern is that my books shall be published and distributed profusely all over the world. Practically, books are the basis of our movement. Without our books, our preaching will have no effect. 1972, Letter to Bhagavan. I am especially in cheerful mood to hear that our books and literatures are being now widely increased, but I don't think you will be able to approach near to the large amount of books being distributed by our California centers, especially in San Francisco. But if you can, then I shall certainly come there in Detroit and live there and translate there. I want to go and stay wherever they are selling the most books. But I do not think that anyone will become better than San Francisco. 1972, Letter to Bhaktadas. I am very pleased to hear from you that book sales are increasing very fast. I am hearing such good news from all over the society, and this pleases me more than anything. 1972, Letter to Keshava. By distributing my books profusely, you are giving me great encouragement to translate, and you are all helping me to fulfill the order which Guru Maharaj gave me. So I am so much grateful to you, and I am sure Krishna will bless you 1,000,000 times over for doing this work. 1972, Letter to Bali Mardan. I am convinced that if you simply glorify Krishna and our books in the best descriptive manner, then anyone and everyone, no matter even atheist or otherwise, they can be convinced to purchase. Of course, that is a great art and not everyone can do it. But gradually, by practice of preaching in this way, striving to so much present a wonderful picture of our books to the people, gradually you will master the trick how to do it. 1972, Letter to Dharma. Krishna does not care for how much we give to him, but he sees how much we are keeping back for ourselves. There is the story of Kolavechar Sridhar, a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, who, although he was a very poor man, gave half of his meager income for worshipping Mother Ganges, and by so doing, he greatly pleased the Lord. It is not so much important the quantity of books that we distribute, but that we serve Krishna as best we can and depend on him for the results. Transcendental competition is nice, but it should not come to the point of making us lose our Krishna consciousness. When you have these feelings, do not mistake it for enviousness, but take it to be an indirect appreciation of the service done by your other God brothers. This is spiritual. In the material world, when someone surpasses us in some way, we become angry and plan how to stop him. But in the spiritual world, when someone does some better service, we think, "Oh, he has done so nicely. Let me help him to execute his service." So we should always endeavor to keep this attitude and serve Lord Krishna to the best of our ability. That will make one advance in spiritual life. 1972, Letter to Bali Mardan. Regarding the question you have raised about traveling Sankirtan parties and selling books, yes, we want money. So that is the real preaching, selling books. Who can speak better than the books? At least, whoever buys, he will look over. If you have to sell books, do it by hook or by crook. The real preaching is selling books. You should know the tactic how to sell without irritating. What your lecture will do for 3 minutes, but if he reads 1 page, his life may be turned. We don't want to irritate anyone, however. If he goes away by your aggressive tactics, then you are nonsense and it is your failure. Neither you could sell a book, neither he would remain. But if he buys a book, that is the real successful preaching. That is the certificate of my Guru Maharaj. If someone, brahmachari, would sell 1 paisa magazine, if one of our brahmacharis would go and sell a few copies, he would be very, very glad and say, "Oh, you are so nice." So distribution of literature is our real preaching. Now, if you cannot handle the matter nicely, that is your fault. But the success of your preaching will be substantiated by how many books are sold. Anything you want to sell, you have to a little canvas. So he gives some money for the service of Krishna. That is his good luck, and he gets the chance to read some transcendental knowledge. But if you only irritate and he goes away, that is your less intelligence. The fact is that we have to adopt the same tactics as ordinary salesmen adopt. But the difference is we do it for the satisfaction of Krishna, they do it for sense gratification. Actually, we have experienced that sometimes out of sentiment someone gives to ISKCON and then laments and wants it back. But that does not mean we should give it back. Our policy is that his money, which would have been used for purchasing cigarettes, liquor, sex literature, meat, will give him the opportunity to gradually become purified. So if by tactics we save that money from being spent on cigarette packets, that is good. If we can take some money and give some literature, that is a good service. So far irritation is concerned, a child is also irritated when he is given instructions, but that does not mean that we should stop. Invite him to our feast, that is the better indication. So, if the Sankirtan parties in Satsarup's zone are irritating the public for selling so many books, that is one thing. But, by their selling books, they are doing the greatest service. What your 1 hour of preaching will do, they will hear and go away. But if they have 1 book at home, they will read, their friends will read, and something solid work is done. So the art is to sell many, many books and not to irritate the public. So you may instruct all the others how to do this successfully. That is sannyas. That is GBC. There are so many places to go, so why there should be business competition Sankirtan parties in New York? This problem should be adjusted between the GBC men.